Hi everyone, it's Marie here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a super special one. So basically, I have been married for 15 years. It's been my 16th wedding anniversary this year. Never scrapped any of my wedding photographs, even though I was scrapbooking at the time. I'd been scrapbooking maybe about 2 years before I got married. Never actually got round to doing any scrapbooking. I have never found the right collection, the right things to use. I've never known what direction I wanted to go in until I saw the new 49th and Market, is it vintage? No, artistry, the Rouge collection, the new one. It's called Rouge. It's absolutely stunning. Now, you may or may not like 49th and Market. It's very heavily floral. But I really wanted my wedding album to be something really elegant, really pretty. I love scrapbooking with flowers, anything floral. Don't get to do it very much because I have a husband and a son. So don't get a great deal of opportunity to do loads and loads of florals. But I do love scrapping with them. And I've been hunting around. Well, I've been looking out for a long time for something that felt right to use. And then this came out. And actually, it was a friend and I who were discussing what she was going to use for her wedding album. And she was asking me, oh, do you think this would work with her photographs? Equally as old as my photographs that she's never done either. And then I saw, when I was looking for her for different collections, I said, oh, have you seen the new 49th and Market? She said, no, I'll go and have a look. So I went and had another look. I'd seen one of the new collections. I hadn't seen Rouge. Saw Rouge and was just like, right, that's it. That is the perfect collection. I couldn't be any happier with it. It's absolutely stunning. So I'm using Rouge today, and I'm using this beautiful cut file that I designed for Peartree Cutfiles. This is one of the February Pearscription files. I adore this. It turned out so pretty, and I knew that I would end up using this one as one of my wedding ones. I do want, most of my pages, my plan is to have them very soft and very pretty. So I'm starting by backing the flowers of the cut file and the buds and the leaves in vellum. Now, the idea behind this is because one of the papers in the Rouge collection is a really deep red. Now, my wedding colours were a deep red colour. My bridesmaids wore red, my flowers were red, and not red and white, they were off-white because you're not allowed red and white. It's like a superstitious thing. A lot of the Rouge collection has got a lot of pinks in it as well, but it's pinks and reds, so it all goes beautifully together. And I loved the idea of using this red paper here. The reason I've used the vellum is because the red was very bright. It was very in your face bright, which is great for some things, but I just wanted a softer look to it, because you saw that piece of paper that I had out just a minute ago. That's going to be my main page. It's got those kind of beautiful pinky cerise watercolours on the back. Is it cerise? Is that the pinky colour? And I wanted that to all work together, so I was very careful to not overpower that with too much red. So if I put in the red behind the vellum, it gives that softer red colour. It's there, but it's just muted and it looks beautiful. So I've backed, like I say, I've backed all of the flowers, leaves, buds in vellum. I'm now just backing the flowers and the buds in the red as well behind the vellum. So just lots of cutting and sticking. I've decided to do this because if it was letters, I'd probably trace around the inner letter pieces and use those to back. But because these are florals, it's easier for me. I find it easier if I trace around the edge of the shape very carefully with my glue and then stick on a piece of cardstock, as you saw me do, and then fussy cut around it. I enjoy fussy cutting. I find it really therapeutic. So just going to do the other flower now. I have left the leaves off. I did contemplate, and you might even see me looking at this in a little while, I did contemplate doing the leaves in a green colour behind. Decided not to, because I wanted to keep the predominant colours on the letter. There will be some green, but I didn't want to add much more green, just little hints of it around and about with the flowers. what I find that when I've finished this is that I actually don't want to add and don't end up adding too much more to the page. It just didn't need it. It was almost done with the cut file, the photograph, and some bits of ephemera. It was sort of done. It kind of came together so easily. So for that reason, I love a big cut file. I love using. I'm not a big fan of dark backgrounds, but I do like a sort of a patterned background. Quite like the sort of watercress colour effect on the background that I use. But there's my cut file. That's where my photo's going, and that's roughly how everything's going to sit. So these are a couple of the pieces of laser cut ephemera from the pack. These are the laser cut florals. And then I've got all of my ephemera just sort of thrown into this tub here. I've decided to use this acrylic piece titled Love You Always, which is from our February release, and these are available in the shop. I'll leave a link down in the description box below to that and to the cut file that I have used, which is, like I said, part of the Pearscriptions. I'm now just going to kind of start fiddling through all this ephemera. Now, the most important thing here with this ephemera is that I wanted to make sure I put some bits of ephemera in, but I didn't want loads and loads and loads. I didn't want to overpower the page. I didn't want to overpower the photograph, because I have used a reasonably small sized photograph here, as you can see. So I thought, well, maybe a couple of nice little butterflies on there would be good, a few little word phrases, but I literally go through every single piece until I'm happy with what I find. So I found the pretty pink butterfly. I did like that stripy frame, it just didn't go with the layout. Now, I would really like to put some flowers around the Love You Always, around the title, just something down there. So I start off by putting a little die cut piece in there, but in the end I do change that. You'll see me do that in a short while. So I'm just adding those extra pieces in, really. I didn't want to back the photograph necessarily, but I did want to highlight it. So I've just popped a little tag and a couple of frames and a ticket or two behind there, just to add something to it without backing it necessarily. I didn't want it to be as sort of as squared off as that. Just a few little things tucked underneath. So just adding, it literally is, this bit here is adding those extra little details. That's all I'm doing. So playing around with a couple of little hearts there, popped in a couple of leaves as well. And then just seeing what else might work. I think that's it. I've done going through those. There's nothing else that I really want to add in. So leave all those. I have got a lot of this collection, but I have obviously got a lot of wedding photographs that I want to scrap. This has to be my favourite photograph though. It is just me and my husband Stephen. You might know him as Mr. Peartree. It's just us two, but it's just a really soft and lovely photo. And I don't like photographs of myself. I quite often shy away from photographs of myself. However, this one I absolutely adored. And it's just of all of our wedding photographs, it's my absolute favourite. My hair's kind of just blown off my face a little bit with a little breeze. And it just looks so soft and pretty, so I love it. So yeah, just playing around again. These are the rub-ons now. So I've got a little teeny tiny rub-on butterfly to go up at the top there. These rub-ons are awesome. They take hardly any pressure at all to stick to the page. In fact, one of them I put down, stuck down by itself, and I didn't even need to use any pressure rub-on or anything. It literally just stuck down by itself. So I didn't have any choice. It was going where I put it. Wasn't able to move it, which is fine. I'm going to tuck that rub on, I've decided, underneath where the photo's going to go. So just sticking that down there. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of wet glue and position those bits of ephemera behind my photograph. And then I'm going to stick the photograph back on to the page when I've just popping up that rub on down. Oh, I don't do the photograph, of course I need to cut file down. So I'm going to use some adhesive foam. So this is foam that's got adhesive on one side. A couple of big pieces of that, and then some sticky foam pads as well. Again, the idea here is to just give it a little bit of dimension, not too much, but a little bit of dimension so that there's a slight shadow underneath the edges of that cut file, just to give it a nice, just give it a lovely nice kind of softened effect. Lots of glue. Popping it down on top of the ephemera, which isn't actually stuck down yet, but by doing that all as one, it's kind of half stuck the ephemera down, so then I can just pop a little bit of glue under the edges of those big die cut pieces, as I'm doing now. So I'm just popping a couple of little foam pads underneath just to prop them up a little bit as well, and then they're all like fully stuck down. I don't need to do anything else to those. And then just putting this last rub on under here. Like I said, I don't need to add a lot because those two big die cut, the laser cut pieces there from the collection, just do it for me. I don't need to really do much else to that. So stick my photograph down, and then my title is going to overlap the photograph slightly. Little bit of glue to stick that corner of the photo down, and then glossy accents. Just got to pick the protective layer off the back first. I have in the past stuck the protective layer down and just put glue onto there, but then it can peel off and fall off without, because the thing itself isn't stuck, it's just the plastic that's stuck, the plastic cover. So it's always best to take that off first. So just sticking that down. That Love You Always. Such a pretty title. And then there's a little word here that's going on this bottom corner of my photo that says My Sweet Love. It wasn't actually the ideal sentiment that I wanted to put there, but it was the ideal colour, so it was an okay sentiment and the ideal colour, so I went with it. Just deciding where this butterfly is going to go. It was going to go on the photograph, but I decided to pop it up with the flowers. And then I've realised I've got a tag behind my photograph, so I just need to pop a little bit of thread in there, tie a little bow, just because I don't like having like that empty hole up there. So tie a small bow, get my sharp scissors so it doesn't make a mess of the ends, tuck the ends of the bow in, kind of loop them round and tuck them in. And then the very last thing I decided to do is take some extra thread and do some thread twiddles and just took a couple of those under as an extra bit of texture underneath a couple of my flowers, and that is it. I am so pleased with how this turned out. I literally couldn't be happier with this layout. I hope the rest of the album turns out just as well. Thank you ever so much for watching. You can find me and Peartree Cutfiles over on Instagram at Peartree Papercrafts and at Peartree Cutfiles. I'll leave all the links in the description box below for the products I've used. And again, thank you for watching. I'd love it if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done already. It means a lot to me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video has inspired you today, and I will see you again soon in the next one. Bye for now.